If Kingdom Hearts 2 isn't top of the list in that S rank, you're wrong. Hey everybody, today we're going to be doing a bit of a fun video. If you're not aware, over on Twitter and on the internet there's been this thing kind of circulating around about a Kingdom Hearts tier list, and what people have been doing is they've been ranking their games, kind of their favorite from least to best, through like a rating system like D, C, B, A, and then of course S at the top. And I figured, since we've done some Kingdom Hearts here, why not throw my 2 cents in? I've played all the games, and you know, I like to say I have some pretty solid opinions on these games. So we'll pull it up right here. I have it. This is what the tier list looks like. People have been taking it, and then they take the logos of each game, place it in the various spots on the list, obviously. So there are, I believe, 8 games in total, if I'm not mistaken, and you know, people have just been putting them anywhere on the list. You can put all of them in S, all of them in D, whatever you feel like. So I have ranked all the games, and I've even thrown Kingdom Hearts 3 in there just to kind of give my initial impressions on where I think it's going to land. Obviously the game hasn't come out yet, so I don't know for sure, can't have, too solid of an opinion, but just based on what we've seen and what we know, I'm going to throw it in a specific spot. So, let me shift this here. Here is my tier list, right? So let's start off real quick. We're gonna go from top and work our way down. If Kingdom Hearts 2 isn't top of the list in that S rank, you're wrong. You need to go home, replay that game, and try again. That's not how it works. Kingdom Hearts 2, perfect. 10 out of 10, would play over and over again. So that's an easy one. That's an easy one right there. Next up, we're moving down to the A rank. We have Kingdom Hearts 1 and Birth by Sleep. And I have Kingdom Hearts 1 kind of ahead of Birth by Sleep, just because the combat in that game is a little more grounded. I know the movements are kind of janky sometimes, but the combat's a little more grounded. The way the game works, and just kind of the starting place of the story. First Kingdom Hearts game, obviously, it has a bit of a leg up being a numbered title. Now, Birth by Sleep is, I would venture to say, aside from 2, probably my favorite Kingdom Hearts title. I love Terra, Aqua, and Ventus. I love their stories. I love the characters, the bond between the 3 of them. But the combat is the floaty. It's the floaty combat that you know everybody sees, and the command deck can be spammed, and it's a little annoying. So that does dock it down a couple of points. But I am a story junkie. I do prefer the game story over the gameplay in most cases. Most cases, let that be the key word there. But that is why Birth by Sleep is up here, because I do love the whole story, showing us the true beginning of the Keyblades and Xehanort, Vanitas, all that stuff going on. I just think it's overall a pretty solid title. Now, I do have next in the B rank, we're gonna drop right down. We'll talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 at the end. But in the B rank, we have Dream Drop Distance coming in first, and I know that a lot of people really don't like Dream Drop Distance because of things like flow motion spamming and Balloon, which was a terribly spammable spell that could just kind of wreck through almost all the enemies. But when I played it, I really enjoyed it. I loved the feature of being to play as Sora and Riku, and I never really, when I first played it at least, I never knew that you could spam all those different attacks like Balloon and the flow motion. So I played through the game kind of not knowing that, and just normal, you know, switching through the commands, flipping through, using the normal attacks, and I thought it was fine. You know, the combat system wasn't terrible. Again, the whole spamming is why most people will dock it. The story does get a little crazy there with Xehanort and the time travel, but you gotta love it because it is kind of leading up. It is our step into Kingdom Hearts 3, aside from 0.2, which obviously is next on my list. So moving over to 0.2, it is a good game. The gameplay's fun. It's really fun to play, but I just think there's not enough there to really push it any higher than like mid-tier B. Like, it's a very, very middle of the ground Kingdom Hearts game. You know, people will say it's a taste for Kingdom Hearts 3, and that is definitely what it is, so that's why it's kind of docked a couple of points. I do love Aqua. It looks great with the Unreal Engine 4, and like I said, it does have the little bit of floatiness to the gameplay as well that we've seen in Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance as well, and that's because all this stuff was being developed by, I believe it's the Osaka team, and they have this thing with their combat where it's not as grounded, it's not as solid as Kingdom Hearts 2 or even Kingdom Hearts 1. Moving on, next we have Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. Now I know that a lot of people dock this game because it is so boring and repetitive in the gameplay, and I understand that. You know, playing as Roxas and doing the organization missions, it's not the best, it's not the most fun to play, but the story in it, I was talking about how I'm a story junkie, and the story is one of the best in the series. You know, the whole thing with Roxas and Axel and Xion, it's beautiful, and especially if you watch like the new scenes that were added in the final mixes, it's one of the best, and I can't wait to see them come back in Kingdom Hearts 3. Moving on to the C rank, we have, standing up by itself, Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Now, a lot of people say that this game, story-wise, is the worst, and I will agree with them. It's basically just a retelling of the past games, and nothing a whole lot new happens as far as like story development, except for the things that they added, again, in the final mix versions with like Maleficent and, I can't remember what the book's name is, but the book. Is it the Tome of Prophecies? I think it's the Tome of Prophecies. I might be totally wrong, just spitballing that, but I think that's what it's called. But yeah, the gameplay is fun. People say, and I kind of tend to agree, that it's the best implementation of the command deck. And yeah, but the story itself is kind of what throws it on C for me. Now, moving on to the D rank. These are my bottom of the barrel Kingdom Hearts games. And Chain of Memories is up there. Now, I know that I just said that I'm a story junkie and I love the story over the gameplay when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. However, I played Chain of Memories and I could not, for the life of me, find a way to enjoy the card command system. I think it is terrible. I think it's annoying. I'll be honest with you guys. I played through a bit of the game. I can't remember. I got to a part. I got stuck. I rage quit the game about, I don't even know how long ago. I rage quit the game. Never picked it up again to play it to this day. I went and I watched the cutscenes to know the story. I know, murder me, say I'm not a true Kingdom Hearts fan. I'll finish it before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. But just as of right now, as of sitting here talking to you guys, knowing that I played through it and just couldn't wrap my head around the card system. Maybe I'm just inept. I don't know. I hated it. I absolutely hated the card command system in Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Story, loved it. The story was great. Naminé, Marluxia, and all that stuff. The whole thing with Riku at the end. Great. Awesome story. But the gameplay just tanked it for me. After that, in dead last is, of course, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. I mean, you can't. A mobile title is not gonna land very highly on anybody's list. I know that there is some story bits in there that are kind of interesting, talking about even before Birth by Sleep, leading up to the Keyblade War, and of course, we're gonna need to know this information going into Kingdom Hearts 3. But I couldn't. It's just swipe in to do the attacks and missions. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I couldn't get into it at all. I tried playing it on 3 separate occasions, and it just didn't click with me. So that is my list for the current Kingdom Hearts games as they are coming out. They've been out, not coming out. But we do have over here Kingdom Hearts 3, and I have it placed in between A and B, right? So here's my thinking behind this. I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 will top Kingdom Hearts 2. Why? Because there is this thing that we've been seeing based on the gameplay and how it seems like there are some elements that are making it very, I don't know, iffy, in my opinion. You know, we've seen people talking about how the game is going to be floaty, and it, like I said, it's being developed by that Osaka team, the same people that made Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance. So we are kind of coming to expect that. I've heard that it's not as floaty as some of these other games, but it is still there and not as solid as Kingdom Hearts 2. And that is one of the things that puts Kingdom Hearts 2 on that S level, that solid, heavy weighted, satisfying feel when you're fighting the enemies. And then the whole thing, even with the Keyblade transformations, how the combat seems to be revolving heavily around that, and how they can be OP and just kind of stacked up in your inventory with the transformations. As long as you're not using them, they don't drain. All the shot locks, you know, there might just be a little bit too much in this game as far as the combat is concerned, that it won't be as streamlined and as polished as Kingdom Hearts 2. And I know that I'm comparing it a lot to Kingdom Hearts 2, obviously because we're hoping that Kingdom Hearts 3 strives to be an S-rank game, right? So I'm putting it here in between A and B, and I think that where it falls is going to rely heavily on the story. So if we have this great story that provides closure to everything, we end the Xehanort saga, and everything's explained, and the combat is improved, and it's pretty solid, but we still have the floatiness, fine, it'll be an A-rank game. But if we have this combat here, and the story is kind of just classic Nomura, throwing in weird time-traveling loops here and there, and it's just kind of, it seems like it's a bit of a rushed story, almost. I highly doubt it will be, but I think if it is, if we see those hints of that, then it's going to drop Kingdom Hearts 3 down to a B rank game. I don't think it'll drop any lower than a B rank. I do not see it being a C. Definitely don't see it being a D. This, as a numbered title, it's almost going to be blasphemous if it ends up on the D rank for this series. Now, that is all I have for you guys today. Once again, going through my Kingdom Hearts tier list of where I think all the games fall in the series, as well as throwing Kingdom Hearts 3 in there, just to give you guys some of my thoughts on the game so far, and you know, getting ready for that release in like 6 months, something like that. January of next year, July, yeah, just about 6 months. So I hope you guys are excited. If you want to, drop me your tier list down below in the comments. I would love to know where you think the Kingdom Hearts games fall in order from best to worst. Do you agree with me that the card system and Chain of Memory sucked? If you don't agree that Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best, you're wrong. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thanks for watching. Not many people make it this far, but since you did, how about you drop a like and a comment down below telling me what you thought? And, since we both know you're not doing anything right now, how about you hit subscribe and check out my next video over there? Right there. Just click it. It's right there. Go ahead. I'll wait.